Hi everybody, welcome to Caketastic Cakes. It's Jen and I'm going to show you how to make Daniel Tiger from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. And if you see me using any tools or supplies you can use, check the link in the description below to help you out. Now to make my Daniel, I'm going to start with some red gum paste. I have it shaped kind of like a loose square, maybe I'd say that is there. I stuck a lollipop stick down through it. And that is where I thought I was going to be beginning, but I ended up changing everything, so you don't have to do the lollipop stick part quite yet. You can skip that part if you want, but this part I think is pretty cool. It's my little stitching tool. I went all over it to make stitches all around it to make his sweater look more like a cable knitted sweater. I know this gum paste looks yellow. It's actually gold. I rolled out the big log you see there, and it's a little bit tapered. I don't know if you can tell or not, but now I'm using my lollipop stick. I cut it in half, stuck it through each leg, and I have it tapered at the bottom, so his legs are a little thicker at the top, and then tapered down a little bit toward the bottom. You can kind of see it in here a little bit. And if you need to trim off a little bit more to get the taper better, just do it. Just make sure you have a little bit of a taper going. All right, I'm standing it upside down for now because why not? It doesn't hurt anything. And I'm going to just work off the bottom of him for now. So yeah, there you go. There are his legs. These are little pieces of brown gum paste that I rolled into little beans, flatten them out as you saw just to make big, long, flat ovals, and they're going to become his little tiger stripes. So there's going to be 2 on each leg. I have the one on the bottom, like right now he's upside down, so yeah, there you go, his actual bottom doesn't come in as far as the top one. You see how I have them? So the top one comes in toward the center of his leg a little bit further than the bottom. So you want 2 stripes on each side, and so far so good. Nothing tricky or special here. These are maroon and red. It's a mixture of maroon and red, and those are going to be his shoes. So I got 2 little, ovals, eggs, whatever you want to call them, beans. They do look kind of like kidney beans. And they're going to be his sneakers. So I'm going to push each one down the lollipop stick. So now it's going to rest on top of his leg. I know it's all upside down, so I'm saying things backwards. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. I have to use some water to keep everything in place. Going to shove the other one on down just like that. And now I'm going to add the soles of his sneakers. I had rolled out some white gum paste, cut out a couple circles you saw me do, and just kind of stretched them and rolled them until they were the right size. So I'm just pressing them down over the lollipop stick again until it sits nice and flat right against his feet. Now he's got the soles of his sneakers. Okay, now I've cut out more circles, same white gum paste. I cut the circles in half, and now I am folding it over the toes of his shoes because the shoes are kind of like that maroon color, and then they have the white tips of the toes. I'm going to cut a couple little skinny little rectangles for each foot to make the laces of his shoes. I'm not going to do the little bow tie. I don't really have that much room, so that's why I'm not doing it. If you make him a little bigger, maybe you would have the room to do it. So, that's just what I did. There's another maroon circle, a smaller one I cut in half, and I'm using each half circle to make the tongue of his shoe. So I'm just putting it up against his leg where the front of the shoe meets. And there you go. Now we've got him from the neck down, pretty much. This is going to be his arm. I just roll out a nice long piece. I'm going to chop it down to make it shorter because he does have kind of short little arms. And I'm going to cut a really pretty severe angle off so it's real tight at the top and then it just barely goes down to the outside of the wrist at the bottom. And this way his arm will sit up against his body nice and tight. He won't stick out like, Ralphie's little brother when he gets all dressed up in a Christmas Story with his arms sticking out. He can't put them down. You don't want that. So I did the same thing with the other arm. I cut it at a really sharp angle, put some stitching over top of it to make it match. And now I'm going to add the little waist of his sweater. So I just made a nice thin strip, wrap it all the way around, and do not add any stitching to it. And I keep saying, about the stitching tool. If you don't have it, you don't have to add this. It's just a little detail that if you have it, add it. If not, it'll be fine. It won't matter any. Okay, I put a line up the front as you saw with my knife and I accidentally cut it, so I had to at the bottom, so I patched it back together and I had 2 little pieces for pockets. All right, this yellow is going to be his little paws, so I just kind of cut out, a wad that's rounded. I made my indentations with my knife and I'm just sticking it on. That's it. So there you go. Nice and easy. Going to do the same thing on the other side again. I got my round piece, cut it off so it's flat on the one end. Use my knife blade to press up, make 3 indentations because he does have 4 fingers. Be aware of that. And then stick them on the bottom of the sleeve. This little piece of brown that I'm cutting out long and thin is going to be his watch. Now, I am old school Mr. Rogers, so my Daniel Tiger lived in the clock and he didn't wear a sweater or sneakers, and he did wear a watch. He did wear a watch. So I guess that's kind of like a little homage to him that he still has his watch, but it's very sweet. I'm okay with this. All right, this giant ball of gold is going to be his head. Again, I know it looks yellow. It's actually gold. Just trust me. Trust the process. TTP is what I tell my husband all the time. He's like, "Oh, that doesn't look right." I'm like, "TTP, get out of my way." Anyway, on that side note, I have pressed down and around, as you see. I'm using the handle of my paintbrush to kind of sculpt out a little muzzle for him. When I have that separated out, I'm using my ball tool to make a couple of holes for his eyes and then fill them in with some white gum paste. And I was in the middle of making coffee, so that's my coffee lid for my cup sitting there. I forgot to move it, so yeah, coffee is life sometimes. I am adding black gum paste to each eye to make the pupil, and a little bit above each eye to make, I guess his eyelashes, I guess. I'm adding a little tiny beanie of yellow or gold to the bottom of his eye to make him look like his bottom eyelid is coming up because he's so happy that he's smiling real big and, his cheeks are coming up. I put a little highlight in each eye of white gum paste as well. And now I'm going to make his ears. So I had that thick circle that you saw. I just cut it in half. He totally looks like a Winnie the Pooh or teddy bear or something right now, doesn't he? And I'm going to take each one. I hollowed it out a little, put some water in it, and I'm taking some of the brown gum paste, cut a little circle with just the bottom cut off, stick it inside the hollow, using a piece of dried spaghetti, and then plug in that ear into place. And there's my picture. See my reference picture. I had kind of a messy workplace in this situation. So there's the other ear. I did the same thing. Put the flat little piece of brown inside that. Use a piece of dried spaghetti. Plug it into place. Now, these are more tiger stripes, or they're going to be. Just like before, I made a whole bunch of beans and rolled them all flat and long. You place one big one in the center of his head, one smaller one on each side. He gets 2 on each cheek, with the top one coming in a little further, just like his thighs, and 2 over each ear, but make sure they don't touch the brown in the center, okay? Now he's got his little tiger stripes. That maroon color there in a loose triangle shape is his nose. I'm just kind of spreading it out there. It goes right at the top of his muzzle. And if I hadn't locked the focus in, you'd see this a little better. However, you can see I'm using an edible food coloring marker to draw the quintessential kitty cat meow meow face. That's the full proper name, kitty cat meow meow. Okay. I also had his head on a lollipop stick there and put it into the body. Now I'm making his collar of his jacket or his sweater. So I just took a round piece, wrapped it around his neck, kind of like a scarf, I guess. I'm using my tool that, if you have it, use it. If not, no worries. To make the stitching around his collar, I trimmed off the extra in the back. It was not exciting, so I didn't show you. I'm using a little bit of white gum paste to make the little tassels of his, I guess it's a hoodie. I don't know. I don't watch this one, so I'm not positive, but how friggin' cute is that, right? Now, one last detail, we're going to make his tail, because I totally forgot to do it before, and as I was originally editing this video, I'm like, there's something missing. So yeah, I remembered his tail. I rolled out a piece of the gold nice and long, wrapped a little bit of that brown that we use for the stripes and everything around it. I put 3 on there, because, that's as much as showed. Wrap his tail around so it sticks out, and there you go. Daniel Tiger, how cute. Okay. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe. It really does help me out. I've got a ton of other videos out there, so be sure to take a look at those. And as always, thank you for watching Caketastic Cakes.